Hey all, this is Eucep again, and another 1:144th scale Gundam review. This time from Gundam Seed Stargazer. This is the DSSD Civillian Custom. I believe this is from one of the side stories named, as the name of the Gundam kit itself suggests, from the Stargazer series. Don't know any background on this one, but then again, I normally don't give one anyway. This is an excellent kit to get. I thought at first this is just about average, just a different looking Astray or something like that, but far from it, to be honest. This is a very excellent kit. It's one of the few where I really went all out with trying to paint in every detail I could find which should be painted. And I think the end result came out quite well. Let's start off with a size comparison. Let's bring out Starscream again. Once again, average deluxe size. So altogether a normal sized Gundam kit. He comes with a display stand. And when everything is like this, you only have two spare parts. One is for a more flight position on this stand, just an extender. You can leave it on the display stand, but I usually keep these parts in an additional box. Or if you don't want to use the stand, there's actually a little plug which you can put underneath him to cover up the hole underneath him. And that's it for spare parts, because everything else is currently on him. That would be the shield, the sword and the gun. So let's go through the weapons. This is actually made out of two different colors of plastic. There's no seals on him. I believe the only seal I've used on this kit are the eyes, the rest I've painted up. It's a fairly simple looking blaster, but I actually like the looks of it. Simple, but as they say, simple but effective. Could perhaps paint it in a side, in the front, over here, but it's very tiny, and it's type of detail which could go wrong too easily on me with my shaking hands. But a nice gun nonetheless. Let's put him back in hand. Also, a point of note, this kit has no polycaps. There is not a single polycap in it. There is some different type of plastics used, but no actual types of polycaps. And here you can see it, this red, it isn't actually polycap, it's a different kind of plastic, but it works well enough for the joints to give some friction more than just normal plastic when the same kinds of plastic are put together. Very simple looking shield, and you get a clip to attach it to the side of the arm or on the underside of the arm, as you want. The shield can be plugged into both arms. There is a little hole on the underside of each arm where it fits into. Then we have the sword, which looks actually fairly nice. It's a bit more like a cutlass with the way it's shaped. Not a completely straight handle. It's a bit more, well, as you can see, a bit more off to the side. The blade itself also not completely straight. I think it's a very decent looking beam saber. I like this more than just the simple plain stock handle with a beam on it. This is a lot more interesting to me. It's one piece, so yeah, I think. Was this one piece? I think so. That's this one's. Or was this 2 pieces? I'm not sure anymore. It's been a while since I built it. But it holds well. It just does have some movement in it. But, oh well. Let's go into the Gundam itself. It has quite a considerable backpack, which transforms somewhat. You have these red shield parts, which can swivel out, and then you have these little thrusters, which you can then angle out. There's some rotation here on the backpack part, and then you have this clear part with a thruster in it and a piece inside it for some detailing. But altogether, one part, it's a very intricate backpack, but it just doesn't look very interesting. It's one of the lesser parts of this kit. The backpack just isn't that interesting. There's also a very big butt part, as you can see from this angle. The Astray has this white part, and this guy slaps on this part as well. I'm not really sure what it's for. This little piece is a clear part, so be careful with it. Let's remove him off his stand. For articulation and some detailing of the kit itself, I've used the visor stickers and the eye stickers. There's also one on the rear, and as you can see, rotation is fairly free. His head can move a slightly bit back and forth. There is some rotation or a swivel forward and backward lower in, but it's very hampered. The head ball rotation is fairly free, but the forward and backward motion is fairly limited by this chin piece. The visor in front of the face is actually optional. You can remove it if you want. And there's a normal Gundam face underneath. The head itself is somewhat longer than usual. This red rim has been painted on. You get stickers for it. The chest piece, you get stickers for these parts in front, which are red, but not for these intakes. Also, this crotch piece, you can get a sticker for, but once again painted up. For the waist, it rotates, and that's it. It's a simple swivel joint and nothing more. At least if I remember it well. He's too tight to pull apart, but really much movement in it there isn't. There's good rotation of good movement in the shoulders. As you can see, you can move this back and forth, outward. You can rotate the shoulders themselves. There is slight movement in the shoulder pads, which are very simple looking. There's a rotation in. There's a rotation here in the upper arm, single joint in the elbow, and you have ball jointed wrists, which once again can be pressed in for a more sturdy lock. Same on the other arm. There is a ball joint in these side skirts and little ball joints in these front skirts. Once again separated, but they come as one piece. On the rear there aren't actually any back skirt parts that can move, but neither are they actually in the way. It does use it could use more movement in the hips. It's somewhat limited just by the shape of the thighs, and that's about it. Movement forward, fairly free. Movements backwards, and just as free. Just the movement sideways, that's limited. The knees, there is an issue with these knees, at least with this little back part, this red piece here. When you fully bend it, this tends to pops off. But even without more than one joint, he can bend more than 90 degrees, which is nice. Let's see, oh, this time it comes out without popping off. These little black parts are... you get stickers for these black parts, but I painted them in. Same for these bands around his legs. Also you get stickers for these, painted up instead. And you get a swivel in this ankle joint. And you get a fairly free moving ball joint and a swivel for the foot itself. Can't fully rotate because the ankle guards really limited it, but otherwise fairly free moving, fairly decent feet. He stands firmly, so no issue there. Just need to straighten out his feet and that's about it. And I think that's it for the DSSD custom civilian type. Thank you all for watching. This was Eucep. See you next time.